being in middle school, and it's like me and a couple of guys, and we're walking into a grocery store in these like really baggy t-shirts and sweatpants to grab like beer and alcohol and whatever we can get to drink, and like not being smart and shoving it in our sweaters, and being caught and running out and having all this like booze drop onto the ground, and like bottles are breaking and 30 packs are busting open and beers rolling everywhere, and it's like a grocery store that all of our family members shop at, so like you don't know who's there and who's watching or who's gonna hear about it. It's just like insanity. My name's Seth. I'm 24 years old. I've been sober for almost 4.5 years. A little background about how my life used to be, what happened, and what my life is like today. I'm originally from Arizona. I grew up in an upper middle class family. My dad is debatably a high functioning alcoholic. I have an older brother who is severely mentally ill as well as a drug addict, and then I have a mother who is an enabler, which comes from love, but unfortunately it's not to my benefit sometimes. So the first time I ever drank, I was 12 years old. I also started smoking pot when I was 12 years old, which is pretty young looking back on it. But it definitely started with like stealing alcohol from my parents, like beer and vodka, and like filling it back up with water and thinking I was really slick. And then pot, and I can't think of like anything more recreational than like having a beer and like smoking a joint. But that, it just didn't last, and it's like what I was doing when I was 12 is like what I imagined maybe I'd be doing when I was 21. And the recreational part of it like quickly left. When I was probably about 14, going on 15, the pills really started to pick up on a daily basis for using. I used my lunch money, my after school money to go downtown and buy pills, and I didn't have a car. I was 14 going on 15. That lasted for probably about 2 years with pills, until I got to the point where I just didn't have money to buy pills. My parents were on to me, my friends were on to me. I was taking anything I could take to sell and get rid of. I realized I like really had a problem when I woke up and knew that like the only thing on my mind was like, I need to get high. I don't care what it's gonna take. I don't care what I have to take from whom. Like it didn't matter, and nothing was gonna stand in between me and getting high. Which like looking back again in hindsight is like that's terrifying to be like 16 years old and be like, I'm gonna take that TV off the wall and go to a pawn shop and sell it, and I don't care if my parents see it or figure it out. Like I need to get high. I did the unthinkable, which was to try heroin, and that's something even like as a person addicted to pills I said I would never do. I would never touch heroin. I'm not a junkie. It's not something that I'm not about that. And all it really took was like one time. I know that sounds like so corny and cheesy because it's like they say like it's one time is all it takes, and it's true. Like once I tried heroin, that was it. Game over, really, actually. I somehow miraculously finished high school, barely. Pretty sure I left with like a 2.2 GPA, which is basically just showing up. I went to college. That lasted all of a semester before I was asked to not return by the university. I got into a lot of legal trouble, which basically forced me into treatment, and I did that for about 9 months, and once everything was settled, and I was 18 when I first got sober. Once all of that was settled, I decided to go have one last hurrah, because no one had to know about it, and the treatment didn't have to know about it. My parents didn't have to know about it. The only person who knew about it was me, which is probably the worst person to know about it. So I went out one last time, and I stayed out for about 6 months until it all came crashing down again. And the third and last time that I got sober, it was sort of a different scenario. It wasn't me being forced into treatment. It was like I didn't want to live anymore. I wanted to die. I didn't care if I woke up. I didn't care about anything. I simply no longer wanted to live. So I would definitely say that's my like bottom for me. I was 19 years old, going into treatment for my third time, not living like the typical 19-year-old life. I thought that I would be in my second year of college and have aspirations and dreams and goals and to be something bigger and better, and my like biggest dream was that I just wouldn't wake up. The treatment process was definitely something that was necessary for me. I needed to be removed from society to sort of like get my bearings straight and reset. And in doing that, I was able to look back on all the choices that I'd made. Today, I am a recent college graduate. Like I said, I have almost 4.5 years sober. I have a relationship with my family, my parents, my brother as much as I can, because he is still actively using. So I did this ultimately for me, and it ended up benefiting not just myself, but the people that I surround myself with, my family, my friends. I wish that I could talk to my 12-year-old self, my 13-year-old self, and give him like a snapshot of what life would look like down the road at 18, 19, like supposed to be the best years of my life. I'm not sure if this is something that would have happened if I didn't start at such a young age, like if it was bound to happen or destined to happen. But I certainly would have made different choices. But all that being said, I did get sober at a young age, and one of my biggest fears was like not ever having fun again. Like when you're 18 and you're in college or in high school, it's like you want to go out and do stuff and have fun, and it just sounded like the most miserable thing to me ever. Being sober, and like that was it. Like there was no more fun to be had, which is not true at all. Definitely the first couple of months were rough, and it was testing, because once you've been on a substance for so long and you are trying to go down a different road, it becomes a little bit difficult. But I mean, my life today is wilder than I could have ever imagined. I do go out all the time. I go to concerts, I go to sporting events, I go to parties. Like the best thing about it is like I can be present. Like I don't have to like go and get all messed up and not remember anything that I did, which is like not just a huge service to myself, like it's a service to others, because like I'm not fun when I'm drinking or on drugs. It's like pretty bad and miserable for everyone. But I wish I could tell myself, 4 years down the road, looking back, like you will have fun, like you will graduate college, you will still go to parties and see people and do fun things. And yeah, I like don't honestly have words for like how amazing my life is today. To be like a young person living in New York City and not having to like pick up an enormous bar tab at the end of the night, and being able to go on vacation and go to museums and go to the park and explore and live my life and remember it, and wake up every morning feeling like grateful that I no longer have it. Living doesn't feel like a chore. Like living feels good. Life is good. Being sober is amazing. I wouldn't have it any other way, I don't think.